Buffalo, September 1967. The New York Jets and Joe Namath open the Bills' new season. After 3 quarters, the Jets lead Buffalo 17-0. What follows is exciting, unpredictable, unexpected. A baffling trip through 14 games for the 3-time Eastern Division champion Buffalo Bills. To be a winner, a professional football team must win consistently. In 1967, the Buffalo Bills could count only 4 victories after 3 championship years. Possibly the most thrilling victory develops with Buffalo trailing New York 17-0. The injury-riddled Bills rallied behind quarterback Jack Kemp. It's the final period in the first game of the year. Kemp calls for the bomb to his new receiver, Art Powell. It's now 17-7. Jack Kemp's very next pass is again to Powell. 37 yards. It's now 17-14, and Bills fans are confident. To keep the rally alive, Buffalo must get a break or make one. Veteran guard Joe O'Donnell tells how the Bills make one.
This is a punt by Paul McGuire, and Paul told us in the huddle before we started that he was going to kick for the left-hand corner. And the job of the offensive lineman, of course, is just to get down there as fast as we can and tackle the ball carrier. Well, John Pitts, playing on the outside for us, got down there very fast and touched the football on about the 1-yard line and then slid into the end zone. In my opinion, the ball was touched before John went in the end zone, and being a punt, as soon as that ball is touched by an offensive player, I think it's a dead ball. I could very well be wrong, but at that time I thought I was right, and I was going to let the official know that I thought I was right.
Good job, Joe. You won the debate. The yellow stripe is the goal line. Tom Sestak and the Buffalo defense now must keep the Jets right there, pinned inside the 1.
We filled the gaps on this particular situation because we knew that they was going to try to run anywhere from the center on out to the tackle. Snell ran up in the 2 hole, and there was a double team on between the center and the guard, and I just played my ground, and he ran right into my arms. And Joe figured he had to go back and pass. And we had good coverage on. Our defensive backs played their men real well, and they stopped the pass. And so that forced them into a 3rd down and 10 situation. In that situation, they had to run again in order to get a little punting room for their punter. But in this case, we stopped them again, and they had to go into the punting situation.
Inches from disaster, the Jets punt from their end zone. The kick sets Buffalo's offense up with good field position. The defense has done its job, and how. Now another challenge. When the Bills fail to move the ball, Mike Mercer is asked to kick farther than any other Buffalo player in history. 51 yards. Score tied 17-17. Less than 2 minutes to play. Again, the outcome narrows down to Joe Namath and the Buffalo demolition crew. While the defense works, the offense plans. The Bills have beaten the Jets 7 out of the last 8 games. A victory here after trailing 17-0 could be the most exciting comeback in Buffalo history. New York is halted and must give up the ball with a minute to play. The Bills are 82 yards away from victory. A pass to another new face. Keith Lincoln spots Buffalo at midfield. Time is the roadblock that could detour the Bills. Elbert DeBenion cuts to the sideline. Kemp hits him to stop the clock with 24 seconds to play. Crucial 3rd and 8. Tight end Paul Costa spots a weakness on his defender.
So he was playing off me a little bit, looking for the bomb more or less, and I just kind of cut it short. And as soon as I turned around, the ball was there. I just jumped up and caught it.
9 seconds to play. Everything depends on a 43-yard field goal attempt by Mike Mercer. Bills win 20-17. A miraculous comeback that seemed impossible. A Buffalo victory that will haunt the Jets, who eventually lose the Eastern title by 1 game.
Against New York, he's fast enough to get behind the secondary and go all the way. In rebuilding with flanker Al Denson, you rebuild with a man of talent. Denson is 6'3", 210, and will battle. A proficient blocker, the 230-pound rookie learns the roots of a pro receiver. Emerson Boozer finds that it's difficult to run with a 255-pound Jackson and Costa as baggage. Rookie safety man Jack Lentz flashes top form as the Jets' Joe Namath attempts a screen pass. In 1967, the Denver Broncos were not a winner, but it was an important season, a season of transition, a season of trying to put the pieces together. By the end of 1967, Denver was competitive. We asked Lou Saban about the future.
We know we're going to be better in 1968 because of the things we've learned from our personnel in 1967. We had a good draft. We just hope it'll pay off in more victories.
The quarterback is the lifeblood of a football team. He needs protection. Fail to provide it and his job becomes futile. Miami's young quarterbacks did not receive the protection they deserved in their game with the New York Jets. Joe Namath, by comparison, had ample time to throw. Head coach Weeb Eubank put his Jets through rigid drills in preparation for Miami. This was a battle for sole possession of first place in the AFL's Eastern Division. Namath, the incomparable leader of this New York team, stings the Dolphins secondary with a 62-yard heave to Don Maynard. The Jets' plan is to send as many receivers downfield as possible, forcing the Dolphins to isolate one-on-one. Namath with that good protection. Maynard working free for another reception. An 83-yard jet drive is successful as Emerson Boozer scores. New York has made it a 7-7 game, and George Wilson, the Dolphins coach, is not overjoyed with the news. Earlier in the second quarter, the protection was good. Rick Norton replaced Bob Greasy at quarterback for the Dolphins and pitched a strike to Doug Moreau on his first attempt. Next, Norton handed to Joe Auer, who bolted for 23. The New York defense a little dismayed after this show of power. The The touchdown that gave Miami an early 7-0 lead was scored by Sam Price. Now with only 56 seconds left in the half, here's Joe Namath taking the field. Namath, the drop back passer. Complete to Emerson Boozer. Boozer spins away from Pete Jaquess and scores his second touchdown. The Jets own a 16-7 edge at halftime. Third quarter, Namath surprises. He fakes, he rolls right, pinpointing George Sauer. Be mindful that Namath's not doing it alone. The pass blocking has been tremendous. Namath to Boozer again, this time for 33. The Dolphin defense chases Namath one way. Joe turns and throws in the opposite direction to Mark Smolinski for the touchdown and a 23-7 New York margin. Jerry Philbin rushes. New York's defensive ends have been especially rough on Miami quarterbacks. Ralph Baker intercepts. The Jets are beginning to shape up as a team to beat in the East. Namath passes for 415 yards in this game, a career high. Namath's uniform is hardly soiled. The protection has been that solid. A swing pass to Boozer, and the elusive halfback has his third touchdown. New York over Miami, 29-7. Coach Wilson's Dolphins dropped to third, and the Jets are on top in the Eastern Division. With Joe Namath passing better than ever and the ground game moving, it could be the start of something big.
In the 10-year history of the American Football League, the 1967 Raiders were the first and only team to post a 13-win season.
Victory is just riding out the clock for Darryl LaMonica.
With quarterback Darryl LaMonica at the helm, the Raiders' offense led the AFL in points scored, and in that season finished third in total offense.
Pete Beathard, the former All-America from Southern Cal, was apprenticed to Kansas City's Lynn Dawson until the Oilers made a shrewd trade. Beathard has the monumental task of learning the Oilers system after the season is almost half gone. So in New York's Shea Stadium, Houston's defense will have to buy time for Beathard to learn. With a 17-0 lead, New York tries a field goal late in the first half, but Pat Holmes blocks it. The loose ball is picked up by Ken Houston. The rookie, who was listed as the 214th draft choice, proves that sometimes you have to dig deep to find gold. The 71-yard run gives the Oilers their first score of the game, but they still trail 17-7 at halftime. But the first time New York gets the ball in the second half, they wish they hadn't. Miller Farr sets the stage for a 51-yard interception return. Houston trails by only 3 points. New York takes possession and moves to the Oilers' 21, but Joe Namath's pass is marked for only one man, Miller Farr. The 67-yard return sets up Pete Beathard's first touchdown as an Oiler. Houston moves ahead 21-17. New York adds a field goal, but Ken Houston jumps in front of Pete Lammons and tallies his second defensive touchdown of the day. Score 28-20, Houston's favor. The Jets come back to score late in the fourth quarter. A two-point conversion will tie the game. The game is tied at 28-all. But it's not over. The last play. New York's Joe Namath goes for the win. But if he throws another interception, he'll tie the AFL record of 6 in a game. The record is tied. If Houston's W.K. Hicks returns more than 35 yards, the Oilers will break the AFL record of yards returned by interception. It's broken. Hicks laterals to Ken Houston, who in turn laterals to Larry Carwell. If Carwell goes all the way, the Houston Oilers will win this game. The last defender, Joe Namath. Namath tackles Carwell on the 3-yard line, and the game ends in a 28-28 tie. What looks like the two strongest teams in the East finish their struggle in a deadlock.
This big performance helped to halt the Patriots' momentum and win one of the Jets' 8 season victories, a new record for the club. Here's George Sauer, leading receiver of the league, on a typical slant pattern. Always striving to improve, George had an even greater season this year for the Jets. On this play, he covers 35 yards against Boston.
The passingest team in the AFL, the New York Jets, are determined to reverse an opening day loss to Buffalo. Joe Namath explodes early. A 53-yard bomb, Namath to George Sauer, propels New York into a first quarter advantage. Then the Buffalo defense ignites an explosion of its own. Butch Bird's tackle shakes loose the ball. Mike Stratton gobbles up the opportunity and scrambles the other way. Later, Jack Kemp hurls a picture-perfect pass to Paul Costa at the Jet 2. Keith Lincoln grabs the spotlight and ties the battle 10-10 at the half. It's Buffalo's last score of the game. However, a freak bounce of the football provides New York with a game-winning touchdown. The ball slips out of Bobby Burnett's hands, into the air, and into the opportunistic grab of the Jets' Johnny Sample. It's all New York needs to tumble Buffalo 20-10.
Speaking of the Jet defense, let's examine some of its parts. Here, the strong pass rush by Philbin, Paul Rochester, and Biggs overwhelms Don Truell of Boston. Boston's veteran Babe Parilli and Jerry Philbin zeroing in. Grantham, number 60, a Jet defensive standout and a member of the AFL All-Star team, shows the practice of stunting, and he can find the gap. Boston's Larry Guerin gets dumped. Billy Baird, number 46, the free safety man, goes toward the ball to help the strong safety. He and Jim Hudson forced Boston's Gino Cavalletti to drop the pass. Speaking of Hudson, number 22, Jim shows perfect timing in this play against Boston's Art Graham. As the saying goes, the right man at the right time in the right place. Watch Rasmussen and Hill on the left side of the line. On the screen to Smolinski, they're instantly ready for convoy duty. 66 and 75 stand in the way of would-be tacklers. And the play works perfectly when Mark gets down the sideline for a nice gain. Don Truell of the Boston Patriots hits Larry Guerin. Boston fans have a reason to remember Billy Joe. At Fenway Park, he scored one of the Jets' big touchdowns and carried 63 yards in 10 tries. While substituting for the sideline Snell, Billy himself suffered a set of bruised ribs. Maynard made the scene at Fenway Park with the longest Jet pass play of the year. Outmaneuvering Leroy Mitchell, he pulls down a Namath bomb for 75 yards and a touchdown. The Jets' tight end Pete Lammons makes a square in for a short gain against the Patriots. Now Maynard blocks as Lammons grabs the pass behind him. And when you're dealt out of a play, make sure the defender is dealt out too.
New York, with a stout defense leading the way, the Broncos did find the winning pass. After a scoreless first period, Denver begins to harass Joe Namath. Jack Luntz spears a Namath pass and returns the ball 25 yards. Denver gets on the board with a 43-yard Bob Humphreys field goal. Moments later, Namath goes upstairs again. Clinch is again the culprit. Watch this fine 47-yard return. Hickey follows Little in for the touchdown. And comes out happy. The defense again holds, and Little adds a second Bronco touchdown on this brilliant 72-yard punt return. After the kickoff, another interception gives the Broncos another chance to score. They do, as Denson makes a fine catch of a Tenzi pass. The Broncos go ahead 23-0. Namath is still throwing, and Denver is still catching. John Heward intercepts. Bob Humphreys' 47-yard field goal makes the Denver margin 26-0. The most explosive quarter in Bronco history nets a 33-24 win.
Won 19-7, and the win streak stretched to 8 in a row. Minutes after the game, the San Diego defeat was announced, and the Raiders were officially champions of the West. Their own division race finished, the Raiders closed out the season at home against the New York Jets and Buffalo Bills. They won both games to run their season's record to an amazing 13-1, best in league history. In the Jets game, the Raider defense had its hands full with New York's brilliant quarterback, Joe Namath. Earlier in the year, Namath had been instrumental in beating the Raiders. The game featured some great Raider defense. That included a crucial goal line stand. That also included these two important second-half plays by linebacker John Robert Williamson, both of which led to touchdowns. The Raider offense was aided by fine blocking. This is won by Warren Wells on a long gainer to Fred Biletnikoff. Now good blocking efforts in the offensive line by top draftee Gene Upshaw and all-league guard Wayne Hawkins on a tough run by Pete Banaszak. The Raiders' victory margin was 39-28. 1 week later, John Rauch's men decisioned the Buffalo Bills 28-21. On New Year's Eve 1967, pro football's young and dynamic organization, the Silver and Black Oakland Raiders, played the Houston Oilers for the championship of the 8-year-old American Football League.
the way into San Diego Stadium for the season's finale against the New York Jets. John Adel set Charger records with 217 completions, more than 3,000 yards, and 24 touchdowns. Willie Frazier fingertips this toss for 72 yards.